It's Thursday, October 13th, and I just picked my son up from a football game that he was attending with the rest of his teammates. They were watching Bowser and Waite play on Rogers Field, and the national anthem came on, and my son chose not to stand, which he has every right to do. And after the national anthem had concluded, I am told that the head football coach of Rogers High School, Coach K, I'll find out his full name tomorrow morning, the head coach of Rogers High School football called my son down and asked him why he didn't stand. And my son told him that he couldn't, and he told him why. And the coach said, "You're not Colin Kaepernick." And my son replied, "I know I'm not Colin Kaepernick, but that doesn't, that's all my son said. But my thing is, my son clearly knows he's not Colin Kaepernick, but that doesn't take away from the reason why my son chose not to stand." And so instead of the coach, the head coach, the adult in the situation, having some manner of empathy and or sympathy and or decency, instead of him demonstrating one or all three of those qualities, he chose to kick my son out of the game. Now, I may be wrong, but I know that he doesn't own that team. I know that he doesn't own that field. And now it has become personal, because I am one who stands up for justice, and I teach my children to do the same thing. We don't stand up for injustice. We don't stand up for brutality. We don't stand up for racial profiling and all of those things that this country clearly represents when it comes to black folks, Middle Easterners, Muslims, brown folks, Native Americans, and the list goes on. So, when I picked my son up and he told me about the situation, I made sure that I asked him very clearly, "Why didn't you stand?" Because I wanted to know that he understood why he didn't stand, I didn't want him following a trend. I didn't want him trying to do something popular because a popular football player was doing it. I wanted to make sure that he understood why he wasn't standing. And when he told me why, when he told me that in this country they are killing people that look just like him, some that are even his age, you cannot expect us to stand for that. You cannot expect us to stand for a symbol and or a song when they are killing us. When our people are experiencing modern day genocide, you cannot expect for us to stand for that and be okay with it. And if that's the case, if you really think it's okay in regards to this national anthem, if you really think it's okay, then sing the rest of the song. The national anthem was written by a racist. The national anthem is full of racist lyrics, and you expect black folks to be okay with that. And so I told my son that I was proud of him and that I would take care of it from here, which I will, which I definitely will, because now it has become very personal. It's been just personal, and I've been doing what I needed to do to make sure that I stand with my people and for my people and do my part in the cause and in the plight of my people. But now it's become very personal, because this is my son. This is my son. And this man, this guy, this coach, this failing coach had no right to tell my son to leave because he chose not to stand for the national anthem. So this is a big deal to me. It may not be a big deal to all of you, and that's okay. It's not your child. It's not your fight. If you choose to join, then great. If not, then it's all good. But trust me, this is a problem, and it's a problem that will be taken care of, because he had no right to inflict that manner of injustice on my child just because he chose not to stand for his song, because that's what it is. It's a song. And the decorated soldiers that have fought wars and died for this country fought those wars, and some of them died so that my son, my child, would have the right to choose to stand or to not. But you're not going to force my child to stand. You're not going to force my child to do anything. I am his father. I take care of him. I look after him. I am his overseer and his protector. I teach him and I guide him in what I think is right. And although I make my mistakes along the way, I am his father, not some failing football coach. So he will hear from me. The school will hear from me. The administration will hear from me. Romulus Durant will hear from me, because it's a problem. It's a problem. And until that problem is solved and or rectified, until my son receives a public apology, or however they want to fix the situation, until that takes place, this is a problem. And it's not going away, because I'm not going to let it go away. Because now, like I said, it's very, very personal. I don't stand for the national anthem. I don't stand and salute the flag when the national anthem plays. Because until black folks have equality in this country, until we stop experiencing racial profiling, until we stop experiencing police brutality, until we stop experiencing modern day genocide, I am not going to stand and say salute a flag, a symbol, and I'm not going to put my hand over my heart knowing that a song is full of racist lyrics that celebrated the death of slaves. I'm not going to do it. And my son is 16 years old. He has the choice to do it or not. I won't chastise him if he chose to do it. I wouldn't chastise him for that. But he chose not to, and he understands why he didn't do it. So with that understanding, and with me knowing what took place, they're going to hear from me. They're going to hear from me. Because that's my child. And the manner of injustice inflicted on my child at a high school football game is a problem for me. Is a problem for me because, like I said, he don't own that team. He don't own that field. He is a Toledo public school official or administrator or teacher or coach, however you want to term it. But my tax dollars go to fund TPS. Not just mine, a lot of folks, but my tax dollars go to fund TPS and certain programs and athletics and different things like that. And my child has a right to sit there quietly and peacefully and protest in that manner the injustice and the brutality that we experience, that he sees, that I cannot shield him from. My child has that right. And that coach, that failing coach, Coach K, took that right away from him, ostracized him, alienated him, kicked him out of the game as if he did something wrong because you had several other black boys, maybe 20 or 25 young black boys standing who may not even know what they were standing for. They just knew or felt they had to. They just knew and or felt they had to. But my son knows the difference. And I'm not saying those children don't. And I'm not saying their parents don't teach them right from wrong. That's not what I'm saying. They may have felt that they had to, or the same thing would have happened to them. And I understand that. But my son chose not to. And that coach had no right to do what he did. He had no right to do what he did. And unless they can show me in their rule book and or guidelines where it is a rule and a policy of TPS athletics that every student, every child, every administrator, every person attending the games, every person must stand for the national anthem and salute the flag while the national anthem is played. If they can show me that in policy, written, then it might be a different conversation. But I know that doesn't exist, more than likely. So now, like I said, they'll hear from me. Thank you all for listening and tuning in. Those who choose to join in this fight with me, I appreciate it. If you choose not to, then it's all good. But understand, I sit with Ben. Ben is my son. That's my child. And I'm going to take care of it, and I'm going to let him know. This is me letting my son know that he did the right thing. He did the right thing. Whether some of you think so or not, my child did the right thing. And what happened to him was wrong, and it will be rectified, and it will be taken care of, and my son will receive justice in the same manner as the injustice was inflicted.